One of the most common claims made today, both by critics of Christianity and quietly within the hearts of believers, is this: the Bible has been changed. It has been copied, edited, corrupted over time, and therefore its message cannot be trusted. And for many Christians, this accusation doesn't merely feel like an attack. It feels like a threat to something deeply loved. Today, I won't tell you to silence your doubts, to suppress your questions, or pretend these concerns don't matter. I actually want to do the opposite. I want to show you why Christianity has never feared investigation, and why the New Testament, though copied by human hands, stands among the most historically reliable documents of the ancient world. Keep in mind, this video will not attempt to prove divine inspiration, infallibility, or theological authority. Those are claims of faith. What this video will show is something foundational and unavoidable: that the New Testament we possess today faithfully represents what the earliest Christians wrote, read, preached, and preserved. Let us begin by being honest and charitable to those who object. Critics often argue that because we do not possess the original manuscripts, the autographs of the New Testament, and because the text was copied by hand for centuries, it must therefore have been altered, shaped by theology, power, or later Christian agendas. They point out that copyists made mistakes, that variations exist between manuscripts, and that powerful institutions could have influenced what texts survived. And if this were true, if the texts were controlled by a single authority, copied in isolation, preserved sparsely, and altered gradually, then obviously Christianity would indeed rest on a fragile foundation. But history does not allow us that conclusion, because that is not how the New Testament came into existence, nor how it was transmitted. Textual criticism is often spoken of as though it were a weapon forged specifically against Christianity. In reality, it is actually a neutral historical discipline applied to all ancient literature. We use textual criticism to reconstruct the works of Homer, Plato, Aristotle, Tacitus, Caesar, and many other ancient authors, often with far fewer manuscripts, far greater chronological gaps, and far less confidence than we possess for the New Testament. However, in the Enlightenment and into the 18th and 19th centuries, many scholars started approaching the Bible with strong philosophical presuppositions, especially the assumption that miracles and supernatural events were impossible, and therefore expected textual criticism to dissolve Christianity from within. But historical method does not bend to expectation, and instead of uncovering chaos, textual criticism revealed something astonishing: an overwhelming consistency across time, geography, language, and tradition. To understand why the text could not have been easily corrupted, we must first understand how it emerged. The 27 books of the New Testament arose from the apostolic age. They were either written by the apostles themselves or by the apostles' close companions and disciples. This was within the living memory of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. The apostles were acutely aware of the danger of false teaching, as they had been warned consistently of it by Jesus. Paul warns the Galatians that even if an angel from heaven should preach another gospel, it is to be rejected. John urges believers to test the spirits, and Peter speaks of false teachers secretly introducing destructive heresies. This means that the earliest Christian communities were not mere naive recipients of religious texts. They were vigilant guardians of apostolic teaching. When letters or gospels arrived in a community, they didn't just accept them. They were examined carefully. Was this consistent with the apostolic preaching? Was the author known or connected to an apostle? Was this text already being received and read elsewhere? Once accepted, these writings were not hidden away. They were read publicly in worship. To quote Justin Martyr, he wrote in the mid-2nd century that the memoirs of the apostles and the writings of the prophets are read when Christians gather for worship. This public reading made secret alterations virtually impossible. Because these texts were valued, they were copied. Yes, they were often copied quickly, often under pressure, and often by ordinary believers. And so many copyists made mistakes. They misspelled words, repeated lines, omitted phrases, clarified titles, or occasionally rearranged wording. These are the kinds of mistakes found in every handwritten tradition in the ancient world. But here is the crucial point. All the copyists did not make the same mistakes everywhere. Because Christianity spread rapidly and independently across Rome, Asia Minor, North Africa, Syria, and beyond, even to India, manuscripts were copied in multiple locations without centralized control. This decentralization is precisely what preserved the text. When one manuscript differs, but hundreds agree, the original reading becomes clear. Variants do not obscure the text, they expose scribal error. Today, we possess nearly 6,000 Greek manuscripts of the New Testament, over 20,000 early translations into Latin, Syriac, Coptic, Armenian, and more, and an immense body of patristic quotations. No other ancient work even approaches this level of documentation. The textual scholar Bruce Metzger, no fundamentalist, concluded that the essential stability of the New Testament text is unparalleled in ancient literature. And then there are the early church fathers, Clement of Rome, Ignatius of Antioch, Polycarp, Irenaeus, Origen, Justin the Martyr, and so much more, writing across vast regions in the Roman Empire and even outside. And they quote the New Testament extensively and often verbatim. By the early 4th century, over 90% of the New Testament can be reconstructed from quotations alone. And remarkably, these quotations somehow align with the manuscripts we possess today. Textual criticism has not revealed a corrupted Bible. It has revealed that scribes make mistakes, that later clarifications enter the text, and that no Christian doctrine depends on a disputed passage. The variants are real, but they are identifiable, transparent, and theologically insignificant. Some will still object that the miracle accounts of the Gospels can't be trusted, and although it's out of the scope of this video, these writings, remember, were composed within living memory of the people that witnessed Jesus. These were addressed to communities capable of verifying or rejecting their claims, and often appealed to public events witnessed by many. That discussion is important, but it definitely does not undermine the historical transmission of the Bible itself. If you are a Christian wrestling with doubt, hear this clearly. Our faith was not built on ignorance, secrecy, or manipulation. It was built on the solid rock, Jesus Christ. It was proclaimed publicly, preserved carefully, copied widely, and scrutinized relentlessly from pagan rulers and in the modern day, and it endured. Jesus does not say, I am a comforting story. He says, I am the truth. And truth does not fear the light. It invites it. God bless.